Hi guys, it's Jamie, and I wanted to make a quick video regarding just getting started with clay if you're working from home. I had a student who contacted me and said, hey, I don't know what kind of surface I should use. I have clay, but you know, what do I do? So one, I want to address the surface, and then also just talk about basic things you could use from home to help you with your clay stuff if you don't have access to your tools at this time. So one, if you look at what I'm working on, this is a sheet of canvas, and it's just over wood. So I could be working on this directly. I prefer to have the canvas over this. There's a lot of argument online about using canvas just because the way that the clay dust gets stored in here. But if you take precautions, it should be fine. Just know that you don't want to create a lot of clay powder and be breathing that in, as that can cause problems in your lungs. All right, so that said, this is what I use here, but let me show you what you can maybe use at home. I happen to have this board. This is backer board, and you could use this as a clay surface as well. And the clay really doesn't stick to it too much, so you could just use it as it is. If I was using this at home, I would not, just because I like to have a fabric surface on here, like canvas, or you could see what you have in your home. One of the things you could do is you could take a piece of old pillow cloth and put it out and use that on top. I prefer to have my material stay in place. So if you're going to do something like this, then what I would do is maybe get some duct tape and then just tape it down. I don't have a full piece of this right now, but you could also use any kind of wood surface or whatever, laminate surface, and use a piece of foamy on top. So if you had the full 18 by 12, that would be a nice little surface for you. And once again, I would probably tape it down around the edges just to keep this secure. Lastly, you can resort to a t-shirt. So what I'm going to do is put this t-shirt over the board, and I know it could fit this way easily, but I want there to be tension here. I want it to be tight. So here we go. Check it out. I've got my nice new covered surface. And so now when I'm working on the clay with the fabric will stay put. It's not going to lift up too much. It will a little bit, but I'm happy with this. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to talk about working with the clay on the surface. And usually all my stuff, I start with slabs if you've seen my videos. So I'm going to show you how to make a slab at home with what you have basically there. And hopefully you have something like a rolling pin or a dowel. And then I happen to have some rulers that when you look at the width of them, they're both about 1/4 of an inch. So, you know, that is good if you can have that. This ruler is only 1/8 of an inch. That's not going to work too well. If you happen to have a bunch of yardsticks, what you could do is if you have 4, or just take 2 and saw them in half, this together would make the perfect width. So you could just, you know, cut that up, tape it together, and use that as your width for making your slab. So most things when we do our clay work is 1/4 inch, and that's what you're going for. All right, so the next thing the next things I find helpful is a piece of string. You could use that, or a piece of wire. You can use a knife from the kitchen, a skewer if you have it, a chopstick if you have it, and then I use this, it's a piece of comb for doing my scoring. So if you don't have this, you can use a fork, we can use the knife, we can use the skewer. You can also use an old toothbrush, so keep those things in mind. So that, along with our rolling implements, are going to greatly aid us. So let's get started on creating a slab. Here's my slab from Clay Planet, or slab. Here's my clay from Clay Planet, and this is this is called Bravo Buff. It comes with this tight twisty thing on here. And one of the things that you can do is just take the chopstick and unwind what, oh, I'm doing the wrong way, unwind it. So when it gets enough unwound, you can just do it by hand and take that out. Some people save these to wrap the clay back up, but it's up to you if you want to do that or not. I'll show you another way of closing the bag when you're done. So here I have my block of clay, and now I can use my string to just pull it across and get some off. You could also use fishing wire, not wire, what is that? Fishing string, whatever. Anyway, you would just pull this across, and then we can begin working with the slab. Another thing you can do is if you know that you're going to have a longer slab immediately, you could put this all the way out and just slice it this way rather than this way. But most people will go this, and so I'll just do that. And now I have my nice slab, or not slab, I have my nice chunk of clay. Now let me do two, because I'm going to be making something and I want to put them together. So when you're not using your clay, you want to keep it covered. You want to keep it moist. So I'm just going to take it like this, and I'm going to close it, wrap it around, and put it upside down, and move it off to the side. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stretch this out a little bit to get started. And so to do that, I'm going to just use my hands to smash it against the board here. And I can see it stretching. And it's doing okay. I can see it's really uneven. So now once I get it stretched out a little bit, I'm going to begin the rolling process. So I have my two rulers here. Now the other thing is, if you happen to have a lot of dowels about, you can also use those. I happen to have 1/4 inch wood pieces that I could use too. So the one thing about this method is now I'm restricted to this width here because of my roller. So if I want to make something bigger with my slab, you know, as I've shown you in my other videos, I need to have a bigger slab. This size right here is perfect if you're going to do some kind of mug or something like that. So let's say I want to have a bigger slab to do a bowl. So now I've created a nice little slab for work. Now I'm going to put this over to the side and smash out that other piece that I have because I want to join them together to create a bigger surface. So I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to set it over on another surface. So here I'm going to take off this excess over here and here and save it for later. So if you're going to save clay for later, put it back into the bag with plastic or put plastic all around it to save it. Because every time you have clay out here as a slab, it is drying. So you want to keep it moist for your use. I'm taking some old dry cleaner plastic and I'm just going to wrap it around. The next thing I'm going to do is prepare to join these two slabs together. So the reason I'm laying down another piece of fabric here is I want to make it easier to pick up. So at one point I'm going to have to flip my slab. So now I have two pieces of slab and I overlapped this, and I'm just going to let my finger follow where the overlapped piece was. So I'm really digging in to where that curve is. Next, I'm going to take away some of the excess clay, and I'm going to follow this about 1/4 inch above where I pushed my finger down. The next thing I'm going to do is use my finger to smush back into that groove I made. And next, I'm going to take this and Just roll it a little bit. And here I noticed that I maybe didn't push in enough clay. So I'm going to just use my finger to push in clay here and up here. Once I have it all smooth, I'm going to take another tool. This is a expired card, and you're going to use that to smooth everything out. I'm not worried right now about the level of this slab. I'm going to do that on my next step. So now I'm going to pick this piece of fabric up. I'm going to put this back down, and I'm going to inspect the other side. So this side also, I'm just going to use this tool to go across and smooth it all out. And I noticed I had some creases and wrinkles. That means that maybe my t-shirt is not tight enough on here, and that maybe I needed to pull it tighter. So my battery, or my memory card, got full. I had to switch out my camera here. But the last thing I'm going to do here is just smooth this out, and then I'm going to put this back on here. And I can take a larger stick right now and then just move it across here to see if it's level or not. So what's interesting is it's taking off clay from the middle, which I kind of expected it to. If when you turn this over you had a crease, you could still see the line, then you could fill it with clay and roll again. I know it's a little bit higher over here, but I'm not going to use that, and I'm not going to worry about it. My emphasis is going to be right here. So now I have this nice huge slab from which I can do a number of projects. So I have a bunch of projects on my YouTube channel, so check it out. I'm going to come back, I think, with a simple mug, even though I have a mug video already, that you can do at home. All right, take care. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.